This question is telling us that we have the measure of LMN is 43 degrees. So that's LMN. So that's this angle here is 43. And that LMN is congruent to OMP. So OMP. Okay, if these two angles are congruent, then that means this is also 43 degrees. The question is what is the measure of NMP? So NMP. So the question is what is the measure of this angle? Okay. So hopefully you see that these three angles together form a line, or we can't say linear pair because there's more than two angles, but these three angles form a line which is 180 degrees. So 43 plus 43 is 86, and when I subtract 86 from 180, that gives me the measure of this angle that we're searching for, the third angle that forms our line. And so that's how we get 94 degrees when we subtract. So remember, 43 plus 43. When I add those, I get 86. And they represent two of the angles that form our line. So when I do the subtraction, that's how I get 94. Okay. Here we have a window is designed in the shape of a right trapezoid. Okay. So a trapezoid happens, well, it's four-sided figure. Not that that matters. And the fact that it's a right, that means that these two base angles are right angles. It says if the acute angle is 52 degrees. So you'll notice there are two angles remaining besides the 290. And you'll notice this angle here is larger than 90 degrees. So that's the obtuse angle. So that's the angle that we're looking for. And the acute angle, being the smaller of the two angles, this one here, is 52 degrees. Okay, so I'm sure some of you are like, well, we haven't learned how many degrees are in a trapezoid. Well, you don't need to know, because if I extend these two lines here, and I extend this line here, you'll notice that we have two parallel lines cut by a transversal. This being my transversal here that I label T, and these two lines here by extending the sides of the trapezoid, those are my parallel lines. So this angle, this 52 degree angle here, and the obtuse angle form consecutive or same side interior angles. Which, when the lines are parallel, in this case with the trapezoid they are supplementary. So all I have to do is 180 minus 52, and I get 128. So that is the measure of my obtuse angle. Okay, here we're looking for the value of x that makes k. Now remember, those two lines represent as a symbol for parallel. Okay, you know, it's even in the word parallel. So these two angles here are alternate interior angles. And alternate interior angles, when the lines are parallel, are congruent. So if they're congruent, that means they're equal. So I'm going to set my expression, my two algebraic expressions equal to one another, and I can solve for x. I'm going to subtract 4x from both sides so I can keep my variable positive. So, and since I moved my variables to the right, I'm going to move my numbers to the left. It always has to be the opposite sides. So what I get is 2x is equal to 24. And when I divide both sides by 2, x equals 12. Now I kind of did the algebra a little fast. But the key is that you get all your x's to one side of the equal sign and all your numbers to the opposite side of that equal sign. That's why my letters went right and my numbers went left. Now, obviously, you could have done it differently and you could have subtracted 6 from both sides, so that way your variables went to the left. And then your numbers went to the right. And you'll notice that you get the same answer. The only difference is that your 2x and your 24 are negative. But when your final answer will still be a positive 12 because a negative divided by a negative is a positive. Okay, here we have a staircase. And ironically, again, we have two lines cut by a transversal. And again, I have two consecutive or same side interior angles, which are always supplementary. So to find the measure of angle 1, I just have to do 180 minus 47. And my answer would be 133.